angels, it's Hailey Reese, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am so grateful that you are here, and I hope that you are having an absolutely fantastic, beautiful, wonderful, all the good things, morning, afternoon, or night, whatever it is for you when this video finally reaches you. Today's video is one that is absolutely terrifying. Today we're diving into the chilling, haunting, and possession of little Hannah. Now, this experience has been told for around 100 years. And as the story has been passed on, though some claim it's been downplayed as far as how dark things really got, one thing is for certain. The terror surrounding the ghost or the demon that possessed little Hannah still terrifies people today. And whatever happened to that little girl, well, the townspeople wouldn't wish on their worst enemy. Welcome back to yet another video of our 31 days of Halloween here on my channel, where I'm uploading a new video every single day from now until Halloween. Today's video truly is absolutely terrifying, and well, as I mentioned, there are a couple of different versions of events. I'm going to tell it to you as it is most commonly told. And that begins with a little girl who went by Little Hannah. Now, the reason that Hannah was called Little Hannah throughout the town wasn't just because she was a little girl named Hannah. Hannah was born what many would call today to be premature. And back then, she really defied all odds. So when she began to speak and started seeing things beyond the veil of what most could see, the townspeople thought she truly was a miracle. And they turned to this little girl as their light in the town. You see, like most children, Hannah had the ability to see beyond what most adults can see with the naked eye. Hannah could see those who had crossed on. She could see her angels as she described them, and at times Hannah could be told things of the future. Her family would reminisce on their loved ones that had passed through the stories that Hannah would tell, stories that Hannah never should have known. Throughout this town, word of mouth really traveled quick as far as Hannah went, and people would travel from all across the town to visit the little girl and to hear of all of these wonderful things that she could share. Hannah's parents were both very religious people, and it's not very clear what religion it was that they did practice, but it was that of a God, and of a God of good. And it said that they were very, very strong believers in prayer to this God and doing good in return for positive answers to your prayers. Now, it is said that her parents were very fond of what she did because they felt like she was doing the Lord's work. But at this time in this town, there was a real battle of light and dark and good and evil. And there were elders that would practice what the locals would call witchcraft or magic. Now, most of these healers were said to be healers of light, and the magic in which they practiced was that of light magic and healing. But there were some that were for darkness and whose motivations were much more sinister. You see, it seemed even back then, power and greed were at the center of some hearts. And so the legend goes that there was an elder in the town who had heard of little Hannah and her beautiful gift and decided to use it to their own advantage. It said that this elder approached little Hannah in the town and lured her out to a log in the forest. This log was said to be a powerful log by the townspeople, but not a powerful log in a positive way. Little Hannah had never heard of this log because most people didn't talk about it. This was what the locals called the Devil's Log, a log where people would go to make deals with the devil in exchange for things that they wanted, perhaps material things or that of a higher status. Whatever it was that these people were seeking that was of vanity or ego, they would go to this log and make some sort of a deal. And it's there that it is said little Hannah was brought. And when she would return, it is said that she was never the same. It's said that little Hannah's parents would notice that she would return with a little doll head that she wouldn't let go of. And it seemed as though she would confide in this little doll head. Now, everybody was used to her going into this trance-like state when she would channel, but suddenly the way in which she channeled was different. It seemed as though everything everyone knew about Hannah was changing. She was channeling these darker imageries. She was starting to grant people these wishes. And the things that she was foreseeing, they came with a price. You see, as the story has been told on, the tellings of events have changed. But what lay at the center was the motive now behind little Hannah and her gift. She no longer talked about her angels or seeing from the beyond, but rather she talked about these figures and these entities that were consuming her mind, that they needed things in exchange for what the people wanted. And everything that these beings were granting through little Hannah came with a cost, a dark, unimaginable cost. Eventually, little Hannah's parents started feeling like what they were living with wasn't even their daughter. So one night, after everybody had went to sleep, her father went out to the field to perform a strong, powerful prayer for the salvation and soul of his daughter. Now, as he returned back to their home, in the darkness of their home, he would see his daughter standing in the center of the room. Except the eyes that would meet him were not that of his daughter, and the voice that would come out was certainly not that of a little girl. It would tell him that they were very upset with what he'd done and that he'd better stop. The following day, he would suffer an accident at work. Whenever her parents would try to intervene with what was going on, these terrible things were happening. And on one night, it said that little Hannah was up in the corner of her room, snarling and growling, and written all over her walls was "Let me out, let me out." It was at this point that they got somebody in the town to perform a religious ceremony. And it said that what happened over the days trying to save this child's soul was that they can't even express in words. It was a battle between good and evil, and a battle for little Hannah's soul. Little Hannah would come out of this on the other side, but the terrifying thing is she would grow up mute. Little Hannah would never speak, not to her family, not to anyone. She would never marry. She would live by herself until the day she died. Nobody knows whether she remembered the events that had happened leading up to her exorcism, so to speak. It's basically what would be the equivalent to an exorcism, though it wasn't quite described as that. Regardless, she never spoke following that day. So the only person who truly knew what had happened lived it and then died with that secret. Now, over the decades, the story's been passed on and certain details have been changed, but at the center of it all, there was a gifted little girl named Hannah who was lured out to the devil's log. Whatever happened there when she returned, she was never the same. And nobody really knows what happened or what would happen following. But one thing has been said. Those who have visited the devil's log claim that there is an energy there, Some have even said they can feel the energy of little Hannah. But what's strange about this is that this story has only ever been told by word of mouth or passed on through urban legends. Well, the locals believe there truly was a young girl named Hannah who went through this. There's no documentation of her. There's no true outline of her family or what really happened. I mean, even the exact name of the town wasn't disclosed. So for all we know, the Devil's Log could be closer than we think. And little Hannah, well, she could have existed near any one of us. But that is basically the story of little Hannah, her haunting and her possession. And I want to know from you, what do you think of this? I don't know about you, but for me, this experience is absolutely chilling. And I can't even imagine how it must have been for those who lived it. But I want to know what you think, so make sure to comment down below. If you guys are new to my channel or you are just not yet subscribed but you do enjoy my content, I would really appreciate it if you go ahead and click that subscribe button, and please give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it. Remember, my loves, do all things with kindness, and until tomorrow, I love you. Bye guys.